G'day, Eddie here from Aussie Power Sports. Today at APS headquarters, I'm going to be installing a winch on this Can-Am Defender. I'll be utilising one of our vehicle's specific winch mounts. As they are made to suit each make and model, they will get the winch in the best location as well as assisting for the ease of installation. To find out what winch mount is correct for your vehicle, jump online at www.aussiepowersports.com.au or contact the helpful team here at Aussie Power Sports. Here at Aussie Power Sports, our winch mounts are designed to suit a wide range of makes and models available in the quad and buggy market. So this is a 2020 Can-Am Defender, and as you can see, this is the winch mount for mounting the winch. The way it'll sit is on the inside of the steel bar here, and the folds on the winch mount ensure that the winch ends up nice and flat and in line with the cutout in the front bar. So for this one, we're going to bolt the two plates together and the winch onto it all at the same time using the mounting hardware that comes with the winch. In positioning the winch, when it's in its final location in the buggy, you want it to be pulling from the bottom side of the winch when it's in this situation. Some mounts actually mount them upside down, but you still want this rope to be pulling from this side of the drum, closest to where the feet on the winch are bolted in, because that's the strongest point. So this is going to sit on the buggy in this orientation, but to mount it up, I think it's going to be easiest to do it upside down. As with when fitting any accessories to ATVs or UTVs, you don't want to crank everything up super tight straight away, because some adjustments while fitting it to the machine, it's always easier when things are just sort of nipped up a little bit. And you just go back around at the end and tighten everything up to their specified torque tightness. So that's the winch mount into the winch mount. So now we just got to mount this to the buggy itself. And see, I've still got some movement here to give a little bit of tolerance in mounting to the factory mount points. Now we've got the winch mounted to the winch mount. It's just a case of sliding it into the area behind the front bumper here. And on this model, this is a steel bumper, so it's nice and strong. There's 4 holes in the bumper, here, here, here and here, which are going to line up with these 4 on the mount. Then it's just a case of nut and bolting them together. So that's all in place, nice and loose. We'll go through now and tighten everything up, including the winch through the plates to pull it all together, as well as the plates to the machine. There we have it, all mounted up. Now we're actually putting another bull bar on top of this. But if you were running the standard bar, you would mount your fair lead here at this point. But our fair lead will be mounted on the scrub bar that we're putting out in front. So I'm just skipping that bit for now. And obviously all the wiring still to be done, but that's the winch and winch mount in position, all tightened up, nice and easy. Okay, so in the Defender, the battery is mounted in under this passenger seat. So we have to remove this plastic to get access to it, to wire to. Also going to locate the control solenoid for the winch in under here as well. So to get to that, there's a clip on either side of this piece. One on the passenger and one under the centre. And then it just slides out. So we'll mount our contactor here somewhere, nice and close to the battery. We'll then run the cables for the winch motor under this panel, which is removable. Remove this panel to gain access to out through the firewall into the front part of the buggy. So we'll get all that ready and go from there. All right, so now we've got all the plastics removed, we can route our cables through the center hump, out through the firewall into the front part of the buggy where we can get to the winch. Now we're going to protect our cables with a bit of loom tube, just to prevent any rub marks or vibration on the cables causing damage further down the track in the future. So yeah, we'll get cracking. Okay, so with the winch wiring, we've run the winch motor cables into a bit of loom tube from the solenoid, which we've mounted here next to the battery. The wires have run through the center hump, out through the firewall, and are out at the winch motor. This little red wire is our solenoid control circuit feed. It's been run from accessories power, which in this Defender is behind the switch panel that's got the keys in it. And then this wire here is our hardwired rocker switch cable, which we've just placed in the storage area underneath the dash for now. So with our Oz Armour winches we sell here at Aussie Power Sports, they run both a wireless control system and the wired rocker switch. So the solenoid has a pre-fit out aviation style plug from the factory, and both the control circuits have the corresponding sockets. Because we run both simultaneously, the winches also come with a wire piece which will let us join our two different control circuits into the solenoid. This common power feed for both control circuits, the reason it's by itself is that it means the winch will only work while the keys are on, which will prevent the winch being operated when it's not supposed to be, as in kids jumping in and playing with all the switches and operating the winch when it may not be safe to do so, or if it's being sprayed with water and it gets a short across the winch, there's no power going to the control circuit or solenoid to actually have it operate without that key being turned on. So it's an improvement that we've made to our winches, and it is important to wire them as per the wiring diagram and have this off a switch source. If you can't find an accessories feed on your buggy, if it has a 12 volt cigarette or USB outlet, they're generally on a switched from the key. So that's one place to look for it, or you can always just run your own manual override on off switch from your battery to this wire to then power up the winch circuit. So all we've got left to do is plug everything together and run the two cables from the battery to the solenoid, and then we can test her out. This is all the wiring done, everything installed. Solenoid, wireless receiver, battery cable to solenoid, cables from the solenoid to the motor, our control ignition switch, and our hardwired rocker switch. In behind here is an accessories power post in the Defender. Not all buggies have them in the same places, but in this HD8 DPS 2020 model, it's just there, which is nice and handy. This dash just comes off with a few clips. And then yeah, once we've given everything a test run, we'll put all the plastics back in, covered. You'll never know we were here. All right, so we've got everything wired and mounted and ready for a test. So this is our wireless remote side of the system. I turn it on, the on-off switch, and it has a flashing light. So that means it can't actually see the receiver. And the reason for that is at the moment is I've got the ignition key turned off in the buggy. If I turn it on, which will give us accessories power to the solenoid, which will then power up the emitter, the receiver. We now have a hard red light. So in theory, this should work. Red light turns green in operation. Out is obviously out. And in is in. So we'll just check the hardwired rocker switch while we're at it. Again, out is out, and in is in. Successful install. So you can see the wiring loom, in loom tube coming through, and down and bolted onto the terminals on the motor. So last step is to install the hook on the end of the wire rope. It's fairly easy. It's just a pin through a pre-fit off end on the rope. And a split pin to secure it. Now it's always a good idea for your first test run to pull out a bit of length on the rope, just in case you've accidentally got one of the wires backwards and in is out and out is in. That if you think you're going to winch out and you pull the hook straight back through your bull bar. Now again, we don't have a roller fair lead on here at the moment because we're going to be putting a bull bar over the front of this vehicle, and the fair lead will go on on the scrub bar. Again, out is out, and in is in. Successful install.